And I remember seeing her, she was standing on the balcony, and I took a picture of her standing on the balcony with the sun in the background, sunset in the background. And I remember thinking, how am I so lucky?
40% of marriages end in divorce, and that doesn't mean the other 60% are always happy. The truth is, after the first year, marriage can be a source of pain, resentment, and even loneliness. That's because it's easy to fall in love, but it's harder to stay in love. Books will tell you that the secret is to have similar interests, common values, shared social groups, financial stability, and yeah, that helps. But every now and then you'll meet a couple married 53 years with a different kind of secret. That's the story of my friend Phil and his marriage. Recently I got to sit down to talk to him about it. Check it out.
Good.
So I want to talk about your marriage because you've been married for how many years?
53.
53 years, and that seems to be not the norm nowadays. So I was hoping to get some sort of insight into the secret sauce of you and your wife, Judy. So let's start from the beginning. Like, tell us how you guys met, and just kind of give us your love story.
We decided to go out on a date in October of 1966, and in November on November 15th of 1966, I asked her to marry me.
So what's that time frame there?
Our first date was on October 29th, and I asked her to marry me on November 15th.
Wait, so that's less than a month?
Yeah, less than a month.
Usually that's not the recipe for a good marriage, right?
It's not normally. You wouldn't think so, no.
But you knew, huh?
I knew. It took her a week to say yes, though.
She didn't know.
She wasn't sure.
Okay.
She wasn't sure. I don't think she was sure even up to the date when we got married. We got married on November 6th of 1967.
So then what's next then?
Well, we finally, all the arrangements and everything, and neither one of us had any money. I mean, I was going to school and she was working for State Farm.
So do you feel like the two of yours personality just really clicked? Do you have the same interests? Did you have the same social friends?
No, that's the interesting part about it, is that we're so opposite. I was, for want of a better term, I was a man of the world. I'd done 4 years in the Navy. I'd been around. She had been in 3 states in her life. She was very naive and very, I'll say, insecure at that time. I think she needed someone that was like me, and I needed someone definitely that was like her.
Tell us one of the most romantic or sweet memories you have of Judy.
Oh, gosh. Hawaii. Our first trip to Hawaii. I remember so much about the fact that she was beautiful. I mean, I look at her, and we stayed at a place on Kauai called the Mokahana Suite. And I remember seeing her, she was standing on the balcony, and I took a picture of her standing on the balcony with the sun in the background, sunset in the background. And I remember thinking, how am I so lucky? How am I so lucky to have someone as beautiful as she is? And we were, I mean, this was 1969. We'd been married about 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly say, I today get a little emotional about it, because it was one of those times that I don't deserve what I've got. I mean, I'm very blessed to have the young lady that I've got being a Christian. She's been a Christian all of her life, basically. She was baptized at an early age. To be with somebody like me in those days, it was just a big surprise. So I look back on it thinking, God blessed us. God blessed me for a particular reason. I don't know why, but He gave me Judy. Yeah.
What's the difference between your marriage 50 years ago versus 30 versus 20 versus now? Has there been changes in the marriage, or has it been the same?
Oh, there have been changes. There have been tremendous changes. Mostly, probably, I think, the respect that I've gained for her over the years. She's been a rock. I can't say enough good things about the kind of person that she's been for me. Unbeknownst, I did not even realize until later, when I became a Christian, when I gave my life to Christ, things changed so much in my life because of what she had been. She hung on and hung on and hung on and hung on, and I have absolutely no idea why. But when I was baptized here at Northside, actually, in 2000, our life, 20 years ago, our life really became a stronger bond because of now my faith, the faith that she had had all those years, that she knew that there was a reason for her to be with me, and what that reason was, I'm sure neither one of us really knew, but to straighten me out, to get me straight. So I think that hang-on type attitude that she had is what made our marriage what it really became.
So it sounds like the secret sauce of your marriage was your wife's faith.
I would say, yeah, I would definitely put credit where credit is due. Absolutely, there isn't any doubt about it. That faith, that coming to faith, she waited for me for a long time.
What would you say to a man who has a wife who maybe is not a Christian or is but doesn't act like it? What would you say to someone like that who's saying, I'm trying my part, but what would you say to him?
I would say do everything you can to be the kind of man that you need to be to bring her to Christ, because I know that what Judy did to put up with a lot of the things that she put up with for me, I'd say you have to, it's endurance. Paul says so in Scripture. I mean, he talks about endurance. He talks about, hanging in there. And I think you just do the right things. Every man needs to do the right things. Be the kind of man that you need to be. Now, the other way around, though, if you're not a Christian and she is, I wouldn't even know what to tell them.
Well, you're only missing out, right?
Absolutely. You really are.
What are some ways you think that marriages can prevent divorce?
One of the things that I was told several years ago, and when I say years ago, I'm talking about 30 years or so ago, Judy and I had a rough patch going on in our relationship, our marriage, and I sought out someone who had gone through the same kind of situation that I went through, and he said, think about what you've got. Think about how important she is to you, and seek someone. Find someone that you can talk to, that you rely on, that you depend on, that you respect, older gentleman, older lady, whichever, and talk to them about it. Find counseling. You can get some good stuff from people who have lived through what you're getting ready to live through.
Mm-hmm. I've heard the quote, marriage is like a garden, or it's like, the grass is not always greener. It depends on how you water your own grass, how you water your own garden. Mm-hmm. How have you watered your marriage garden?
When I became a Christian was when I became the man that I needed to be to water, to take care of, to be attentive to. I think that change in my life was what's important.
What are some things you think men need to do more of in their marriages?
Oh, pay attention to your wives. Don't think that the world revolves around you. Make her important in your life. Your wife needs to be important. You need to make her important. You need to be more attentive to her, giving her the things that she needs. Your love is the most important thing you can give to her, but your faith is really important too. If you have faith and you have a relationship with Christ, you need to share that with her. You need that. That's the most important thing.
What do men need to do less of in their marriage?
Selfish. Be unselfish. That's my problem. That's been my problem probably most of my life, is that I've been very selfish with. You need to become unselfish. You need to give as much as you can.
Didn't you guys go on a motorcycle tour, like up to Alaska and different places?
There was actually an article in the Kansas City Star about us and the fact that we visited 41 of the 59 national parks on a motorcycle. Yes, we started doing that when I was 50. And I think that made our marriage stronger. Someone asked me one time about, does Judy ride with you? And I said, if Judy didn't ride, I wouldn't go. And I think that those trips, we finally, on our 50th anniversary, we finally went back to Hawaii. I rented a motorcycle, and we were able to say that we had ridden in all 50 states in 50 years of marriage.
That's a great metaphor of marriage, riding together on a motorcycle through the turns of life. So I pray that you guys continue to be inspirations for the rest of us, and that you continue to ride on.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it.
You may not have noticed, but the lighting and the audio in that interview were kind of off. It was really bothering me, and I wanted to reshoot it. But Phil and even my wife said they didn't even notice the lighting, because to them, it wasn't the most important thing. That's true for our marriages also. We can try to perfect all these little things and lose sight of what's most important. Phil said the secret to his marriage was his wife's faith. 5 years in, she could have been like, the lighting in this marriage is terrible. The audio is horrible. Let's scrap this marriage. But instead, she worked on it by allowing God to work in her. My wife's the best thing that's happened to me because like Phil, she brought me to Christ also. Now, we've had our ups and downs. There's been times, honestly, where it felt a little broken. But our secret is we always come back to God. We come back to prayer, back to our knees, back to the cross, back to forgiveness, back to flowers. So men, let's show this country how we can lead. Lead with truth without harshness, tenderness without weakness, and godly masculinity without apology.